Hello, today's daily reading comes from the book of the Apocrypha. We are reading from the book of Jasher, chapter 20, and it reads as follows. And at that time, Abraham journeyed from the plain of Mamre, and he went to the land of the Philistines, and he dwelt in Gerar. It was in the 25th year of Abraham's being in the land of Canaan, in the 100th year of the life of Abraham. And he came to Gerar in the land of the Philistines. And when they entered the land, he said to Sarah his wife, Say you are my sister to anyone that will ask you in order that we may escape the evil of the inhabitants of the land. And as Abraham was dwelling in the land of the Philistines, the servants of Abimelech, king of the Philistines, saw that Sarah was exceedingly beautiful. And they asked Abraham concerning her. And he said, She is my sister. And the servants of Abimelech went to Abimelech, saying, A man from the land of Canaan has come to dwell in the land, and he has a sister that is exceedingly fair. And Abimelech heard the words of his servants who praised Sarah to him. And Abimelech sent his officers, and they brought Sarah to the king. And Sarah came to the house of Abimelech. And the king saw that Sarah was beautiful, and she pleased him exceedingly. And he approached her and said to her, What is that man to you with whom you did come to our land? And Sarah answered and said, He is my brother, and we came from the land of Canaan to dwell wherever we could find a place. And Abimelech said to Sarah, Behold, my land is before you. Place your brother in any part of this land that pleases you, and it will be our duty to exalt and elevate him above all the people of the land, since he is your brother. And Abimelech sent for Abraham, and Abraham came to Abimelech. And Abimelech said to Abraham, Behold, I have given orders that you will be honored as you desire on account of your sister Sarah. And Abraham went out from the king, and the king's present followed him. As at evening time, before men lie down to rest, the king was sitting upon his throne, and a deep sleep fell upon him. And he lay upon the throne and slept until morning. And he dreamed that an angel of the Lord came to him with a drawn sword in his hand, and the angel stood over Abimelech and wished to slay him with the sword. And the king was terrified in his dream, and said to the angel, And what have I sinned against you, that you come to slay me with your sword? And the angel answered and said to Abimelech, Behold, you die on account of the woman which you did last night bring to your house, for she is a married woman, the wife of Abraham, who came to your house. Now therefore return that man his wife, for she is his wife. And should you not return her, know that you will surely die, you and all belonging to you. And on that night there was a great outcry in the land of the Philistines, and the inhabitants of the land saw the figure of a man standing with a drawn sword in his hand, and he smote the inhabitants of the land with the sword. Yea, he continued to smite them, and the angel of the Lord smote the whole land of the Philistines on that night, and there was a great confusion on that night and on the following morning. And every womb was closed, and all the issues of the land of the Lord was upon them on account of Sarah, wife of Abraham, who Abimelech had taken. And in the morning Abimelech rose with terror and confusion and with a great dread, and he sent and had his servants called in, and he related his dream to them. And the people were greatly afraid. And one man standing among the servants of the king answered the king, saying, O sovereign king, restore this woman to her husband, for he is her husband. For the like happened to the king of Egypt when this man came to Egypt. And he said concerning his wife, She is my sister, for such is his manner of doing when he comes to dwell in a land of which he is a stranger. And Pharaoh sent and took this woman for a wife, and the Lord brought upon him grievous plagues until he returned the woman to her husband. Now therefore, O sovereign king, know what happened last night to the whole land, for this there was a very great consternation and great pain and lamentation, and we know that it was on account of the woman which you did take. Now therefore restore this woman to her husband, lest it should befall us as it did to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his subjects, and that we may not die. And Abimelech hastened and called and had Sarah called for. And she came before him, and he had Abraham called for. And he came before him, and Abimelech said to them, What is this work you have been doing and saying you are brother and sister? And I took this woman for a wife. And Abraham said, Because I thought I should suffer death on account of my wife. And Abimelech took flocks and herds and manservants and maidservants and 1,000 pieces of silver, and he gave them to Abraham. And he returned Sarah to him. And Abimelech said to Abraham, Behold, the whole land is before you. Dwell in it wherever you will choose. And Abraham said, and Sarah his wife went out from the king's presence with honor and respect, and they dwelt in the land, even in Gerar. And all the inhabitants of the land of the Philistines and the king's servants were still in pain through the plague which the angel had inflicted upon them the whole night on account of Sarah. And Abimelech sent for Abraham, saying, Pray now for your servants to the Lord your God, that he may put away the mortality from among us. And Abraham prayed on account of Abimelech and his subjects. And the Lord heard the prayer of Abraham, and he healed Abimelech and all his subjects. Amen.